In the dense, untamed forests of Viridia, where colossal trees stretched their ancient boughs towards a sky speckled with distant stars, a unique collaboration was about to unfold. Viridia, a planet known for its rich biodiversity and seldom visited by humans, was largely uncharted, making it both mysterious and inviting. On this particular morning, Dr. Lena Hart, a human veterinarian specializing in xenozoology, was reviewing her field notes aboard the interstellar research vessel Artemis. Her work focused on the study and preservation of alien wildlife across various ecosystems. Suddenly, the calm was broken by an urgent distress signal relayed from the planet's surface. "We have an emergency. It's Kathy, one of the sentinel beasts of the eastern groves. She is gravely ill," explained Dr. Soul, a Viridian scientist who appeared on the hologram, his face lined with concern. The Viridians, tall and slender beings with luminescent skin that shimmered like the leaves under rain, were known for their deep connection with their planet's flora and fauna. Without hesitation, Lena prepared for her descent. The idea of saving a sentinel beast, creatures revered by the Viridians for their role in maintaining the ecological balance, was not only a privilege, but also a daunting challenge. Her shuttle pierced through the atmosphere, landing softly on a bed of fallen leaves that emitted a faint, bioluminescent glow. Dr. Soul greeted her with a nod as they hurried through the underbrush, their path lit by the natural luminescence of the forest. The air was thick with a sense of wild flora, a mixture of musk and sweetness that was disorienting yet exhilarating. Kathy is not just an animal, she is a keystone species. Her health directly impacts the surrounding ecosystem, Dr. Soul explained as they approached a clearing. There, lying amidst a circle of towering ferns and whispering streams, was Kathy. The creature resembled a terrestrial rhinoceros, but was covered in scales that glittered with a metallic sheen under the forest's muted light. Her breaths were shallow, each exhale a visible struggle. Kneeling beside the giant beast, Lena felt a mix of awe and sorrow. She's suffering from something severe. "We need to act fast," she murmured, pulling out her diagnostic tools. Her scanner hummed softly over Kathia's body, mapping out complex internal systems vastly different from anything terrestrial. The initial scans were inconclusive, suggesting an unknown pathogen or perhaps a toxin. "We might be dealing with an environmental issue. Something in her habitat could be causing this," Lena speculated, her mind racing through possibilities. Dr. Soul nodded gravely. "Viridia has recently seen unexpected shifts in its ecosystem. Unusual weather patterns, plants, and even insects have begun showing changes. We feared it might affect the sentinel beasts. And now, determined, Lena proposed a bold plan. Let's collect samples from her environment, water, soil, plants, everything. We need to understand what's happening around her just as much as what's happening inside her." As they collected samples, the importance of their interdisciplinary skills became clear. Lena's expertise in xenobiology, combined with Dr. Soul's knowledge of Viridian ecosystems, was crucial. They were not merely treating a creature. They were attempting to preserve a world. Night fell, and the forest transformed. The air thronged with the sounds of nocturnal life, a reminder of the thriving complexity around them. Sitting beside the flickering light of a portable heater, Lena and Dr. Soul prepared their equipment for detailed analysis. The stakes were high, and the night was long, but their resolve was steadfast. They were not only fighting for Kathi's life, but also for the delicate balance of life on Viridia. The first day had laid the groundwork for what would be an intense battle against time and the unknown elements of a wild, alien world. As the night deepened, the sounds of the Viridian forest grew louder, a symphony of unknown calls and whispers that seemed to echo the urgency of their mission. Inside the makeshift lab set up beside Kathi's resting area, Dr. Lena Hart and Dr. Soul were deeply engrossed in their analysis, surrounded by samples of Viridian flora and fauna, illuminated under the soft glow of their equipment. The first breakthrough came unexpectedly. While examining the water samples from a nearby stream, Lena noticed peculiar, microscopic organisms thriving at an abnormal rate. "Look at this," she said, adjusting the focus on her microscope for Dr. Soul. Tiny organisms shimmered under the lens, their rapid movements unnatural for this time of night. "These aren't usual for this biome," Dr. Soul remarked, his brow furrowed in concern. "It appears these organisms have become dominant, possibly outcompeting other essential microfauna." Connecting the dots, Lena hypothesized, if these organisms are releasing toxins as a byproduct, it could be what's making Kathy sick. "We need to verify if these are present in her system." Using advanced xenobiological testing kits, they managed to trace the presence of similar toxins in Kathy's blood samples. The discovery was significant, but also daunting. They had identified the cause, but the solution was still out of reach. As dawn approached, painting the sky with hints of purple and gold, the team prepared to trace the source of the contamination. Dr. Soul led them through the forest, explaining how recent meteorological anomalies could have altered the ecosystem's balance, possibly introducing or activating these harmful organisms. The investigation took them deeper into the forest, where the trees grew so tall and dense that daylight struggled to penetrate the canopy. Here, the beauty of Viridia was overwhelming, but so was the realization of its vulnerability to even slight ecological shifts. They arrived at a larger river that fed into the streams around Kathy's habitat. Samples from various points showed increasing concentrations of the organisms as they moved upstream. Following the trail, they discovered an old satellite crash site, partially reclaimed by the forest, but still leaking a faint, chemical effluence into the river. "This must be it," Lena concluded, examining the wreckage. "The chemicals from the satellite are altering the river's composition, fostering these toxic organisms." The solution was now a matter of environmental repair, but how to achieve it on an alien planet was the next challenge. The team brainstormed, considering everything from bioremediation techniques, using native plants, to mechanical filtration systems. Deciding on a dual approach, they contacted the Artemis for support. Within hours, a small team arrived with equipment for a makeshift filtration system to immediately reduce the spread of toxins. Simultaneously, Dr. Soul began preparing cultures of native algae that could naturally break down the chemicals over time. Throughout the day, as the filtration system was installed and the first algae cultures were introduced into the river, Lena stayed by Kathy's side, administering a synthesized antidote to neutralize the toxins in her system. The giant creature's breathing gradually steadied, a first sign of recovery that brought a wave of relief to the team. As sunset approached, coloring the sky with fiery hues mirrored in the glossy leaves around them, Lena and Dr. Soul sat exhausted, but hopeful beside Kathy. The day had been a testament to their resilience and the power of interstellar collaboration. However, they knew the path to full recovery for Kathy and the forest was just beginning. They settled in for another night in the forest, under a tapestry of stars, ready to continue their work at dawn. The battle to save Kathy was far from over, but they were prepared for the long haul, armed with science and a newfound understanding of the delicate balance of life on Viridia. The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the dense canopy, casting a kaleidoscope of light on the forest floor, Dr. Lena Hart and Dr. Soul were already busy monitoring the effects of their interventions. The makeshift filtration system hummed quietly by the river, its presence in odd contrast to the ancient wilderness surrounding it. Kathy, the sentinel beast, showed signs of improvement. Her eyes, previously dull and lifeless, now flickered with a gentle awareness. Lena administered another dose of the antidote, her hands steady despite the fatigue from the continuous vigil. "The initial results are promising," she noted to Dr. Soul, who was checking the data from the environmental sensors they had installed around the crash site. "The toxin levels in her bloodstream are decreasing, and her vital signs are stabilizing." Dr. Soul nodded, his face reflecting a mix of relief and caution. The river's biochemistry is also starting to show signs of normalization. The algae are adapting well, but it will take time for the ecosystem to fully recover. As they worked, a group of Viridian elders arrived at the site, their robes shimmering with the same bioluminescent patterns that adorned the forest flora. They were the guardians of Viridian lore and natural law, deeply respected within their community. Their leader, Elder Myrene, approached Lena and Dr. Soul, her expression grave yet kind. "We have come to see the creature that binds the grove," Elder Myrene stated, her voice carrying the soft rustle of leaves. The elders gathered around Kathi, their hands extended, feeling the energy and life force of the beast. Lena watched, fascinated by the interaction. The Viridians believed in a deep spiritual connection with their environment, one that she had read about but never witnessed. It was a reminder of the stakes involved, not just the survival of a species, but the preservation of a culture's spiritual heart. After the elders' silent communion with Kathi, Elder Myrene turned to Lena and Dr. Soul. "Your efforts have given us hope," she said, "but the path you propose, it is new to us. Can our world bear the weight of such foreign interventions?" Her question was not one of suspicion, but of genuine concern. Lena understood the delicacy required in her response. "We aim only to restore what has been disturbed," she explained. "Our interventions are designed to be temporary, to support Viridia's natural healing processes. We respect the balance you strive to maintain." Elder Myrene nodded thoughtfully. "Then let us learn from this. Together, our knowledge of the spiritual and yours of the scientific could lead to a deeper understanding of balance." Encouraged by the elders' openness, Lena and Dr. Soul agreed to a collaborative monitoring of the recovery processes, blending Viridian ecological wisdom with human technological innovations. This partnership not only facilitated the immediate recovery efforts, but also opened a dialogue about sustainable technological integration into Viridian ecology. Over the next few days, Lena divided her time between treating Kathi and engaging in deep discussions with the Viridian scientists and elders. They explored topics from bioremediation and the life cycle of forest organisms to the spiritual rituals that had co-evolved with Viridian wildlife. These discussions led to the development of a comprehensive recovery plan that included not only the physical healing of the land and its creatures, but also cultural preservation and adaptation strategies for future ecological threats. As Lena watched the forest slowly rejuvenate, with the river clearer and Kathi gradually regaining her strength, she felt a profound connection to this alien world. The forest's whisper seemed to speak of ancient wisdom, of cycles of destruction and renewal, and of the delicate dance between all living things. The project was far from over, and many challenges lay ahead, but the foundation laid during these days promised a hopeful path forward, not just for the health of an ecosystem, but for the unity of interstellar communities facing environmental crises together. As the days stretched into a week since their arrival on Viridia, Dr. Lena Hart and Dr. Soul witnessed the regenerative powers of the forest slowly but steadily reclaiming its health. The makeshift filtration system by the river, initially an alien presence in the lush wilderness, had now become a point of convergence for both human and Viridian technologies, symbolizing a newfound harmony. Kathi, the sentinel beast, was now strong enough to stand, her scales shimmering more vibrantly with each passing day. Her recovery was not just a victory for the team, but a beacon of hope for the entire Viridian community, who watched as their revered guardian regained her might. In the heart of the forest, Lena, Dr. Soul, and the Viridian elders convened under the ancient canopy for a crucial discussion. They gathered around a holographic display of the ecosystem, which showed significant improvements in the river's biochemistry and the declining presence of the toxic organisms. "Elder Myrene, the data is promising," Lena began, pointing to the indicators of ecological balance on the screen. "The natural order is restoring itself. Our interventions seem to be working as we hoped." Elder Myrene, standing tall and serene, nodded slowly. "We see the fruits of our joint efforts, Dr. Hart. Kathi's revival is a testament to our unity. However, we must also contemplate the longevity of these technologies in our lands." Dr. Soul chimed in. "Indeed, Elder, we propose a phased withdrawal of the human-made systems once full recovery is assured. Additionally, we've developed a monitoring protocol that utilizes Viridian methods enhanced by minimal technological support to detect and prevent future ecological threats." The elders murmured among themselves, their expressions thoughtful. The integration of alien technology into their sacred traditions had been a profound shift, one they were cautiously navigating. As the discussions unfolded, Lena took a moment to step away, wandering towards the river. The sound of water flowing over smooth rocks, now clear of pollutants, was a soothing symphony. She watched as small, bioluminescent fish darted through the water, their light trails mingling with the natural glow of the riverbank's flora. Suddenly, She noticed a group of Viridian children observing her from a distance. Curiosity eventually overcame their hesitation, and they approached her, their eyes wide with wonder. "Is it true? The beast walks again?" one young Viridian asked, his voice a blend of awe and excitement. Lena smiled, kneeling to their level. "Yes, Kathy is much better. She's strong, like your forest." The children beamed, and one by one, they started asking questions about the technology, about Earth, and about the stars beyond. Lena answered each query, marveling at the eager minds before her. It was a gentle reminder of the broader impacts of their mission, not just restoring an ecosystem, but inspiring the next generation of both planets. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows through the towering trees, Lena returned to the gathering, where a decision had been reached. The elders agreed to the continued use of certain technologies, under strict guidelines, ensuring that any intervention would always be in harmony with Viridian principles. "We will walk this path together, learning from each other, for the health of Viridia and the wisdom it teaches us," Elder Myrene declared, her voice resonant with the authority of someone deeply rooted in her world's traditions and open to the winds of change. With the agreement sealed, the team set out to implement the next phase of their project. The upcoming days would involve detailed planning and training sessions with Viridian scientists and environmentalists, preparing them to take over the monitoring and maintenance systems. As night enveloped the forest, the team sat around a small fire, the light flickering across their tired but content faces. They shared stories of their worlds, of the challenges they had faced, and of the unexpected friendships forged in the wild heart of Viridia. The forest hummed around them, a sound now familiar and comforting, a symphony of life continuing its endless cycle, enriched by the unity of disparate worlds. With the ecosystem of Viridia on a promising path to recovery and the collaboration between humans and Viridians strengthened, Dr. Lena Hart felt a deep sense of fulfillment as she embarked on the next phase of the project. The focus now shifted towards education and empowerment, ensuring the Viridian community could independently sustain and advance the recovery processes. Over the next few days, Lena and Dr. Soul conducted workshops with Viridian scientists and young scholars. They delved into advanced ecological monitoring techniques, the use of biodegradable technology in environmental conservation, and the importance of data in predicting ecological shifts. The enthusiasm and keen intellect of the Viridian participants made each session incredibly productive and insightful. Meanwhile, Kathy continued to regain her strength, becoming a symbol of resilience and renewal. Her recovery had inspired a festival among the Viridians, a celebration of life, nature, and the bonds formed with the human visitors. Lena was invited to attend, an honor that filled her with both pride and humility. As the festival approached, the forest near the village was adorned with bioluminescent decorations that mirrored the stars above. Music, an ethereal blend of Viridian vocal harmonies and the natural sounds of the forest, filled the air. Lena, dressed in a garment gifted to her by the elders, felt a profound connection to the planet and its inhabitants. During the festival, Elder Myrene addressed the gathering, her voice carrying clearly under the starlit sky. "Tonight, we celebrate not only Kathy's return to health, but also the dawn of a new era for Viridia, an era of shared knowledge and mutual respect with our friends from the stars." Cheers erupted from the crowd, and the celebration continued with traditional Viridian dances and a communal feast featuring the planet's exotic fruits and spices. Lena and Dr. Soul were drawn into the dances, laughing as they tried to follow the complex steps and rhythms. Amid the festivities, Lena took a moment to step aside, gazing up at the vast, star-filled sky. She thought about Earth, her family, and the colleagues who'd supported her mission. Her journey to Viridia had started as a scientific endeavor, but had grown into something much more significant, a testament to the power of empathy and collaboration across cultures. The next morning, after the remnants of the festival had been cleared, Lena and the Viridian leaders convened to discuss the establishment of a permanent ecological monitoring station on Viridia. The station would serve as a hub for ongoing research and conservation efforts, staffed by both Viridians and volunteers from other planets, including Earth. We envision this station not just as a tool for ecological management, but as a beacon of our shared commitment to preserving the beauty and diversity of Viridia, Dr. Soul explained to the assembly. The proposal was met with enthusiastic approval, and plans were quickly set into motion. Lena spent the following days helping to outline the curriculum for training future station staff and integrating Viridian traditional knowledge with scientific methodologies. As her time on Viridia neared its end, Lena felt a mixture of sadness and hope. She had come to love the lush greenery, the vibrant life of the forest, and, most of all, the people who had welcomed her so warmly into their world. On her last night, Elder Myriam presented her with a small, glowing seed, a symbol of growth and enduring friendship. Plant this on your world as a reminder of what we have achieved together and what the future holds, Myriam said. Holding the luminescent seed in her hand, Lena felt the weight of this gesture. It was not just a gift, but a responsibility to continue fostering the bonds between worlds and advocating for the protection of all life, wherever it may be found. The next day, as Lena boarded the shuttle to return to the Artemis, she looked back at the smiling faces of her Viridian friends and colleagues. She knew she would return, but more importantly, she knew that the foundation they had built together would continue to grow, a testament to the power of unity in the face of adversity. As the shuttle ascended from Viridia's surface, Dr. Lena Hart took one last look at the verdant world below, her heart swelling with gratitude for the remarkable journey she had experienced. From the window, she could see the towering trees and winding rivers she had come to know so well. The sentinel beast Kathi, still glowing with health, roamed the forest once more. On board the Artemis, she was greeted by her colleagues, who were eager to hear about her mission. She shared the story of Kathi's recovery, the collaborative festival, and the plans for the ecological monitoring station. Each detail was met with enthusiastic applause and a renewed sense of purpose among her peers. In the coming weeks, Lena worked tirelessly to compile her findings and finalize the plans for the Viridian station. The project report, which included detailed data on the environmental remediation methods used and the insights gleaned from Viridian traditions, was shared widely across the scientific community. Back on Earth, Lena planted the glowing seed given to her by Elder Myriam in a botanical garden dedicated to interplanetary flora. Under careful cultivation, it thrived, growing into a beautiful tree with bioluminescent leaves that shimmered under the night sky. The tree became a symbol of unity between Viridia and Earth, and its glow attracted visitors from all walks of life, inspiring curiosity about the stars beyond. In the meantime, the monitoring station on Viridia was completed. Staffed by a diverse team of Viridian and human scientists, they developed new strategies to protect the planet's delicate ecosystems and conducted groundbreaking research on the interdependence of its unique flora and fauna. Elder Myriam's wisdom, combined with Lena's scientific methods, helped shape a curriculum that balanced traditional and modern approaches to environmental stewardship. Despite the physical distance, Lena remained closely connected to the project. She regularly exchanged knowledge and updates with the station's staff, contributing ideas for new conservation strategies and educational programs. One day, while reviewing a report on Kathi's continued health and the flourishing forest, Lena received a message from Dr. Soul. The monitoring station is now fully operational, and we've begun training the next generation of conservationists. They carry your spirit of collaboration and passion for life into their work, he wrote. Lena smiled at the words, feeling a profound sense of fulfillment. She had set out to save a single creature, but the journey had led to something far greater, a lasting legacy of hope and cooperation. In the years that followed, the monitoring station expanded into a leading research institute, welcoming scientists and students from across the galaxy. Its influence reached far beyond Viridia, inspiring other planets to adopt similar interdisciplinary approaches to conservation. Meanwhile, the glowing tree on Earth became a gathering place for those curious about the stars and the stories of unity that bound different worlds together. School children learned about the sentinel beasts of Viridia. Families marveled at the tree's bioluminescence, and scientists pondered the mysteries of life beyond the stars. Dr. Lena Hart often visited the tree, sitting beneath its luminous leaves and reflecting on the journey she had taken. The ups and downs, the challenges and triumphs had all led to this, a future where science and wisdom, technology and tradition, and humans and Viridians worked together to protect and celebrate the intricate beauty of life in the universe. With a hopeful heart, she envisioned the future continents and planets interconnected not just by technology, but by shared commitments to preservation and respect for all life. The legacy of her journey was a light that, once ignited, would continue to spread, illuminating paths not just through the forests of Viridia, but across the endless expanse of the universe.